I'd like to thank the sisters of St. Peter for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'd like to thank you all for coming. And I'd like to thank most Sister Mary, whose compassion and care and fidelity has been a blessing. And we are so lucky to have you as part of our family. I also thank your attention because I plan to speak from the heart. The services today, in every aspect, is exactly what Aunt Mary wanted. And what she wanted most was that today would be a celebration of life and a celebration of her impact on each of us. And she was so serious about this, and I saw this with my own eyes at my father's funeral. And she saw priests donning black vestments, and she said, no, we are here to celebrate my baby brother becoming unified with the risen Christ. The priest changed his vestments as she asked. She got her way. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I saw Aunt Mary and thought we needed to treat her with kid gloves. That somehow she was this delicate piece of porcelain or fine crystal. But as you grow and you become an adult, you understand that through her life of education and service and administrating a grocery store in Brooklyn, you get to see it all. And you have a life experience that is beyond anything I could ever imagine. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about the stories she could tell and who she was. You know, less than 2 weeks ago, I came and visited her here. She asked, what's the news on Gaza? What's going on in the Ukraine? What's happening? And you would think, oh, this is a very intelligent woman. She liked to stay up on current events, and that was her focus. But it totally misses what was in her heart. She understood that those affected by the war are so horrifically injured, and she prayed for peace because her parents were the victims of the war. Her mother suffered the most horrific humiliation that a woman can endure and came to this country. Father had the proudest title that any Irishman can hold, volunteer. He fought. She would tell us how he would shovel coal in the day in a locomotive for a railroad. And he and his comrades would go out at night and rip up the tracks and roll them up, denying those tracks to the enemy. After the war ended, he was part of the group that saw the Irish Republic as something more than what the Free State had secured. And he found himself going north, to the north of Ireland after partition, to try to liberate the Irishmen there. It's incredibly personal to me because my mother-in-law's family is from Omagh in County Tyrone and suffered that oppression and came here later. While her father was captured, was imprisoned, was a prisoner of war, and was liberated in a daring raid where they blew up the walls of the prison, and he escaped. And he came to this country. And you hear these stories, and even I heard these stories, and you say, well, maybe it's myth, maybe it's legend, and then you go and you research it. And I did before I trip to Ireland, and I found a jail roster with his name on it. Everyone was mechanic or farmer. He's the only one, IRA soldier. He was there. And I didn't say that Mary was envious, but I did something during that trip on the road from Belfast to Dublin. I asked the driver if we could go to Dundalk, if we could go to the jail. And he said, yeah, okay. And we went there, and it was a police station. And to tell you how real this was, He told me, get your passport, don't say a word, don't say why you're here. Let me do all the talking. This was 100 years later. We couldn't get in, but we went down the side and I saw the cell block. I saw the walls. And I took a picture and I showed it to her. And she was so happy because she had never seen it. My father had never seen it. But that was real life. That was their journey here. And the amazing thing is, she also understood the opportunities that they obtained by coming to this country and how they were able to make this wonderful life for themselves, even in the midst of the Depression. And so when she looked out at people who were coming to this country now, she desperately wanted them to have the same opportunity and be given the same respect. And that's what she prayed for. And she prayed for peace. And she prayed for a country that would be just as giving as they were to her parents and what her life was. We had a wondrous gift in Aunt Mary because she would come to every celebration, she would come to every holiday, and it was just magnificent to see her and to be there, to listen to her give the blessing. But also those moments, and it would happen often, where she'd be at the end of a table or in another room, and a family member would come and be talking to her just privately, talking to her about life, wanting to get that peace that she could only bring. And she would bring such compassion and care to her family. And you always knew she was going to say, I'll be praying for you, and I'll be calling you, and I'll be there. Most recently, I witnessed this at Thomas's graduation. Cousin Lauren was saying goodbye and was talking to her. And all of a sudden, the tears started pouring from her face. Thank you. Thank you for your prayers of intercession. And these two beautiful boys running around. And the reality of how much Aunt Mary impacted each of us by praying for us was so wonderful to see. I'll end by saying that one of the things that she truly was magnificent about was for couples who were trying to have children and parents who had children and were having difficulty. She never stopped praying for those families to have children and to be the next generation. With my own mother, Aunt Mary would say, she would pray, I know God has a child for you. Years. That child was John, later me. And when we visited Aunt Mary here about 2 weeks ago, she told us how the happiest days in our life were the day that John and I came home. She got to see the next generation of her family, and then to see Andrew, Thomas, and Matthew, and Patrick, and the joy that that brought her. She truly was a blessing, and she lived life with the most precious commandment: love one another as I have loved you. And that's who she was. Thank you.